Professor Jiang explained why the US will lose the war against Iran, and I think the same pretty much. He gave 5 main reasons for this. First, the war of attrition. For Iran, this isn't a nuclear war, it's a religious war. The death of Khamenei has fueled massive rage among militant groups, and for them, this fight is about sacrifice, not survival. Over the last 20 years, proxy groups like the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas have been waiting for this moment and they'll fight at any cost. Second, Iran isn't just targeting the US military, it's going after the entire global economy. By striking Gulf nations like Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, especially their energy and water infrastructure. These water plants supply nearly 60% of fresh water in Gulf cities, and a few cheap drones could destroy them out, leaving cities with barely 2 weeks of water. On top of that, Iran could block the Strait of Hormuz, choking global trade. Since Gulf countries import around 90% of their food through this route, that would threaten their very survival. Third, the petrodollar equation and US financial risk. Gulf countries sell oil in dollars and that money flows back into US markets, especially in the AI and tech sectors. If oil exports or capital flows collapse, the US economy could face a massive financial crash. Fourth, cost asymmetry. Iran's cheap drones forces the US to use multi-million-dollar interceptors. We've already seen expensive missiles being wasted trying to take down low-cost Iranian drones, as US defense system is built for big missile, while Iran attacking with so many cheap drones. And that's a huge disadvantage. Fifth reason is ground invasion and the petrodollar risk. For a regime change, the US would need troops on the ground and not just airstrikes. Historically, every major regime change required that level of involvement through protest or direct military intervention. We have seen protests in Bangladesh and sending military for Maduro's raid. If countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or the UAE fall into financial crisis, the petrodollar system collapses, which could trigger another US economic downfall. So if the Trump loses this war, I would be very happy. And so the India will be, because of the death of global terrorist leader Khamenei and many of Iran's militant groups, is already a major win. US will not have a control over Iran, which means the dominance and dictatorship Trump wanted in global economy by having control over oil and global trade route will not be achieved. Because after all, Trump wants global dominance of himself on Asia and Middle East through Iran. And remember, if Trump does pull off a regime change in Iran, it could hurt India. He might impose more sanctions, just like he did when we bought Russian oil or faced new tariffs, as we no longer work under the influence of US government.